Scott McClure, and that's a SCOTTMCCLURE, and I live in Monmouth, Oregon.
And what makes you the best candidate for this position?
I think at a core level is experience. I've been in the field for 31 years, been very successful through my career. 21 of those have been in the city manager or city administrator role. I'm really functional and very good at all areas of management, internal operations, project completion, working with the community, supporting the council. So consider myself really complete package. I'm very good at what I do, very motivated, do everything the right way, and I think I'd be successful here.
Now, is there anything in particular that stood out for the Scottsbluff City Manager position that made you decide to apply?
Yeah, I think for me it's kind of two-part: good community, good organization, or great community, great organization. And this is a great place. I really like Scottsbluff. It has a similar feel to where we lived in Colorado. We loved living there when we did. Nice town, great service levels because you're the regional hub. It's got lots of activities, good events. Amazing natural areas around here, lots of things to do and experiment. For us, it'd be a fun new place to explore, going either direction, a couple hours here and there. And then as far as the city goes, great organization, really consistent leadership, good council. You've got really quality staff that I've seen. Services are at very good levels. Finances are in good shape. So I think it'd be a good place to work, good place to live.
And what specific strength do you have that you're really good at if you were selected for this board? Like, what are you you're best at?
Yeah, probably a lot of it's just how I work with people. I'm very experienced, but it's very natural how I work with folks. Very good relationship building. Just it's a really easy way to function. Just getting along with folks, getting things done. Staff has always had really good reviews of me and kind of working for one of the top supervisors they've ever had. Worked very well with the council, and for me, it's all that experience just kind of rolls into it. It's just second nature to me now. I don't have to use a system to get something done. It's just kind of built into how I do things. But let alone the basic operations, I'm very creative, looking at different ways to do things, always looking ways to adjust and move forward. And I think, like I said, just I can do things very quickly. I get to solutions very quickly. If I haven't seen something before, I know how to sort through the new item.
In your tenure as city manager and city administrator, what is kind of the biggest accolade, pinnacle of, a multi-million-dollar budget deficit that you got through, or something of that nature?
Yeah, probably for me the kind of pinnacle was we actually passed a bond measure for a new police station, and that was identified as a council goal, one of the critical goals. It was going to have to be voter approved. It didn't have city reserves or any way to get it funded, and I took all the experience that I learned from going to seminars, talking to other managers, and we just did everything right in the process to get it kind of pre-positioned, and then by the time it got to the election, to promote that really well. In a recession, we got a 59% yes vote on a new police station, so you're asking people to take more money out of their pockets, and I think we had really a good success there. So that was a really good one for me. We had done a bunch of good infrastructure work, facilities, the underground invisible things to public buildings, but the police station I think was really kind of a capstone of all that.
Was that bond measure passed on the first time?
Yep, first shot.
Now, kind of for a historical reference, here in Scottsbluff, there's been 2 tries at a half-cent additional sales tax, and it would just be for infrastructure projects, and it would be for everyone shopping in town. So everyone from the surrounding communities who come to Walmart and Target, they'd also be paying in, but our local voters shot it down in back-to-back election, special election and general election, like they made the ballot. So I guess, if that were to come back up, how would you tackle that in an effort to say, we want to get this done? I guess kind of coming in cold, what would you kind of bring to the table to say, we need to get this passed, here's how we're going to do it?
I think the first one is you deconstruct what happened previously and try to identify what was there. Was it just a reluctance of any kind of tax increase, or was there something that maybe the city didn't make a compelling case on the projects? Like you're talking, if you're using the word infrastructure or anything, those are hard to convey sometimes. So maybe it's a matter of presenting that a little bit better to the community, what the benefit is to them, identifying different parts of the community. One thing that happens in some cases, with these is who's getting the benefit. You know, if you do a project that appears to only benefit like maybe one section of town, that might be the right answer. That's really what the highest priority is. But then how do you get the votes from all parts of town if you're doing that? So then in some cases you might split projects a little bit and like say, let's just say you broke Scottsbluff into 4 sectors or zones and made sure that there was a project in each of those zones just to kind of get things over there. Sometimes you need to strategize a little bit like that.
Yeah, and if you get selected at this position, what's your approach? How do you connect with the people under you that may not be familiar with you? How do you like have common ground or just connect?
Yeah, so first level is just setting up basic communication, using an all department staff meeting, which has been done here before. I would keep that going. Set up regular communication with the folks just to get to know each other. What I do on the front end is I give my expectations, actually a written list of expectations for what I'm thinking. That's the first step. It's only the first step. It's not good enough. You have to just spend time with each other to get to know each other. Here's my preferences. Here's how I prefer they approach things. Listen to them. You know, blend their ideas in with mine. And it's just working through things. Broader level in the community is getting to know the community. Because if you come in cold, I don't know. Like in that case, I don't know what really the reasoning was for the tax issue. And I think it's my job to figure that out. And so I can't just say, oh, I'm new here. Sorry, it's my job to figure it out.
Are there any, I guess, areas for improvement you have identified for the city that you may have done through research ahead of time, or are you kind of ready to chomp at the bit for whatever may come your way?
Yeah. I think they've identified some good goals, I think, and just kind of going over things. Just internal, just making sure the organization's in good shape. Like everybody else, you got people retiring, so trying to figure out, how to get those positions filled. Internally, it's nice if you can, and kind of working toward that. Economic development's been talked about quite a bit, whether supporting local businesses or trying to get the recruitment level up. The interesting element there that always comes up is with our new world. Are there some new mobile people out there that might look at Scottsbluff? And that's an interesting one. And how do we get ahead of all the other tens of thousands of cities in the country that say, hey, we want this, not you. We're actually better. So that's a new one, to kind of fresh one to look at how do you market yourself, a little bit better. The solid waste landfill issue, that'll be an interesting one because you got so many layers there. Because options, doing it yourself, private provider, partnering with Hearing, or even a broader grouping. That's just to kind of jumping on that. And then the downtown that we've talked about, the downtowns in that transition point. I know it frustrates people, but it happens to downtowns everywhere. I don't think Scottsbluff is unique in that regard, that someone did something wrong here. It's just a natural evolution. As soon as the malls, the strip commercial, the Walmart comes along, it happens, but then you transition your downtown. And I went through a very successful transition in Monmouth, Oregon. I've seen it work around the country. You can get there. It just requires a lot of extra effort because, in my case, downtowns are at a disadvantage and you have to help them. You have to work harder.
And during your career in city government, have you ever had to tackle any landfill issues that we're kind of scrutinizing at the moment?
Not quite. One I did involve when I was in Colorado, the county had a landfill, and we were looking into basically a material resource facility. So you basically just drop everything in, run through the sorters, do a different type of system. So at that point, we actually traveled through Nebraska, actually saw some sites and took a look at different ways to do things. And that one went along for a little bit, but then the county stepped in and justifiably said, well, we can't just divert all the flow out of our facility because we've got fixed costs to run the place. And so when they really put their position on the table, everything kind of went away. But definitely familiar. When I was in Colorado, we had the solid waste service, just like Scottsbluff, so very familiar with that service.
And then, have you worked in a similar city management function with, a 5 or 6 member council, working with the city manager, but not, I guess, they are their own, they're the ones that are passing the laws and you just kind of keep things going?
Yes.
I guess, have you had that format before?
Yeah. That's what I've been doing my entire career, so that's very comfortable. Slight deviation, I've always had 7-member councils, just sometimes you do 5, sometimes you do 7. But, intriguing, in the state of Wisconsin and Minnesota, sometimes they go into the teens on their counselors. You can have like a 19-member council.
It probably depends on city size.
Not necessarily, it's just how they pick it. And I've talked to some managers in those environments, and they say it's fascinating because you would think that it's just like there's 1 block or 2 blocks that kind of go. And the one manager said, he said, no, it's a kaleidoscope. He says every issue the council would kind of configure it different than this one, and they'd partner with on other things. And I always just think, something comes up, just the mechanics of something important comes up, and you say, okay, I got to call the council and tell them about this. And in Scottsbluff, you have 5 phone calls. One of those, you have 19 phone calls. That takes some time.
Do you have any specific goal or task you'd like to accomplish here, if chosen?
Yeah, I think just the things that cities have identified, I'm very comfortable working within those areas. I would like to see the organization healthy, good services, and then anything we can do to make progress in the community, filling in some blanks in the retail sector, getting some of these critical projects done. I think I'd just like to just jump on those.
Is there anything else you'd like people to know about you?
Let's see. Just generally, I'm a good guy, real easy to work with. One thing you'll see that I am very involved in the community. Definitely not somebody that just punches the clock at City Hall and goes home. I will be out there listening, being involved. I think it's important to participate in other ways. I've served on nonprofit boards in multiple places, Chamber of Commerce, downtown associations. So you'll definitely see me out and about in the community.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Well, thank you very